morning, everyone. I'm so happy you tuned in today. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Dr. Linzi, and I am a naturopathic doctor right here in Iron River. I specialize in helping people restore their health and revitalize their life. Always a little disclaimer. Anything we discuss is for the purpose of general health support. We're not intended to treat or cure disease, just talking about overall physiology, supporting overall health. Always consult with your primary care provider before making any changes, right? And so last week we talked about the biggest lies in weight loss, right? Like eat less, move more. It's just calories, calories in versus calories out. You just need more willpower. And one of the biggest ones being, the next medication, the next peptide, or the next supplement is going to fix everything. And so definitely check out that recording on YouTube at Dr.Linzi ND if you feel like you are still following some of the lies that we've been told around weight loss, and if you want a little more insight into what really helps with that. So today, I want to ask you a question, and I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people. So the question is, how stuck are you? Not how much weight you need to lose, or not how bad are your labs, or how many supplements are you taking. I want you to think about how stuck you feel in your health journey and what's keeping you from moving forward. Because I work with so many people who know that they want something to change, and they want more energy. They want to feel comfortable in their body again. They want better digestion. They want their inflammation to go down. They want better sleep. They want to feel stronger. They want to stop starting over every Monday. And often they'll say something like this to me, Dr. Linzi, I know what I should be doing, but I just can't seem to do it. And this is exactly what I want to talk about today, because I don't think most people are stuck because they don't care or don't think that they're they're stuck because they're lazy. A lot of the time, they're stuck because there are patterns underneath the surface that have never been identified. And until we identify them, we keep trying to solve the wrong problem, right? And so we have to first understand that knowledge is not always the problem. So what do I mean by that? So think about this. Most of us already know a lot of the basics about health. Drink more water, eat more protein, move your body, go to bed at a decent hour, get your sleep, manage your stress, eat real food, get outside. I don't think anybody listening, today is like, wait, water? What? I never heard of that. I should be drinking water, not pop. You know these things. So we have more health information available to us today, probably than any generation in history. Knowledge is readily available to us, and yet people feel more confused than ever. People are sicker than ever, taking more medications than ever, and more overweight than ever. So clearly, information alone is not the issue, because if information alone created the transformation and the restoration, we'd all be doing fantastic, right? But knowing and doing are two very different things, right? And this is where I started to think about the word stuck. And through my 8 years of helping people on their health journey, there has been some commonalities here. Because sometimes what looks like maybe a nutrition problem isn't actually a nutrition problem, or what looks like a motivation problem isn't a motivation problem. Sometimes you can be stuck because you have spent 20 years putting everyone else's needs ahead of yours. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Does that resonate to anybody? So sometimes you can be stuck because you've convinced yourself that you'll start over and you'll start making yourself a priority when life calms down. Or maybe you're stuck because you've tried so many things, you don't even trust yourself anymore. Or you're afraid of failing again. Or maybe you think you should be able to figure it all out yourself. Or the worst, spending money, time, or energy on yourself creates guilt for you. Maybe it's your all or nothing mentality. I have to do everything perfect, and the minute you don't do everything perfect, you do nothing. This is what stuck is, right? And to give you a little more detail, like with the I'll start when trap, because that's a big one that I hear so often, by everybody, men and women, but especially women. Oh, when my kids get back to school, I'll start. When my kids are grown, when I'll start when, right? So I created a self-assessment this week for you guys to help you see where you're at and kind of check your level of stuckness. And one of the questions in the assessment is, and you rate yourself of how true this is for you. I keep telling myself I'll focus on my health when life settles down. This is such a big one, right? I'm sure so many of you are like, yep, I've said that, or that's what I'm saying now. When work slows down, when the kids get through this season, or when the kids get through their soccer season or their football season, or this season, when the holidays are over, when summer is over, when winter is over, when spring is over. You get the picture, right? When we get through this family situation, when I have more time. Here's the problem, you guys. Life doesn't really settle down, does it? The circumstances may change a little bit here or there, but something else usually fills the space, doesn't it? And so if your health is always allowed to be the thing that gets bumped to the bottom of the list, it will be. It will be at the bottom of the list. At some point, you have to stop waiting for life to give you permission to take care of yourself, right? And another one that is, I feel, a very point of stuckness is that you have normalized not feeling good. I hear this a lot. This is another question on the assessment that you rate. I've normalized not feeling good. So I hear so many people say things like, well, I'm 45. You guys, first of all, 45 is so young, okay? But I hear this all the time. Well, I'm 45 or even 50 or 60. You guys, that is still young. It doesn't have to mean you start to feel like crap. You can feel like your best as you age. But I'll so often hear things like, well, I'm 45, I guess I'm supposed to be tired. Or, I've always been bloated, or I've had headaches forever, or, I've never slept well, or I've always struggled with my weight, or my joints just hurt now, or my brain doesn't work like it used to. Does that mean you have to accept that as a reality? And sometimes after something's been happening long enough, we stop questioning it. It just becomes our normal. But common does not automatically mean normal, you guys. And just because this is where your health is today does not mean this is where your health has to stay. And I think that's one of the biggest messages I want you guys to hear today. The other one that I hear often is the one thing will fix it trap. This is the one thing, this happens a lot in the social media world, on Instagram, on TikTok, it's like the one thing, this is another way people get stuck is constantly searching for the thing, the supplement, the diet, the medication, the peptide, the workout, the detox, the hormone replacement, the newest thing on social media. And that's going to, quote, fix them. And I'm not saying tools can't be helpful. I use tools every day with patients and clients and in my practice. But a tool cannot replace the foundation. If you're sleeping 5 hours, if you're chronically dehydrated, if you're under eating, protein, if you're living in that fight or flight stress response, not moving your body, and you have no structure or consistency around your daily habits, there probably isn't one magical product or thing that is going to override all that, right? And that's why I talk so much about creating the conditions for health. We have to work on the environment the body is living in, and then we can use the appropriate tools to support that. But it doesn't go the other way around. And I also find that sometimes the real problem with this stuckness is prioritizing yourself, right? And this is where the conversation gets a little bit deeper, because one of the questions I asked online this week was, when was the last time you made yourself a priority? Not your kids, not your spouse, not your employees, not your parents, not everything on your to-do list, you. And quite a few answered that they honestly couldn't remember. So think about that. We can become so accustomed to showing up for everybody else that we don't even realize that we've disappeared from our own priority list. And this isn't selfish, you guys, because then you're surprised why you're exhausted, why you feel frustrated in your body, why you feel frustrated that nothing is changing. But how can something become a priority in your life if you continually give it whatever scraps of time, whatever scraps of energy, whatever scraps of attention are left over? That's just not how it works, logically, when you think that through. And so this brings me to something one of my clients, Tracy, and shared with her permission, shared about her journey. Now, Tracy lost 18 pounds, which is wonderful, and she's glowing. She looks amazing, and it's so awesome, and I'm so happy for her. But you guys know me well enough now, if you've been listening to Telephone Time, that the number on the scale isn't what gets me super excited or all emotional, right? It was what she said that she learned throughout the process. This is what she said, you guys. Tracy said, the hardest and most important step is choosing yourself, choosing your health, your peace, choosing to believe you're worth the effort. When I read that message from her, it like hit my heart, because I love that, because that is the transformation, you guys. That is the health restoration. The 18 pounds are awesome. And is she more healthy and metabolically healthy and lower risk for diabetes and cardiovascular and all that? Yes, wonderful. But learning that she was worth the effort, that's way bigger than any number on the scale. And then something else happened. It gets even better, you guys. So then this one gave me full body goosebumps. So we had asked Tracy whether we could share her progress photos, because her transformation is literally awesome and it's so inspiring, and she just is it's just truly remarkable. And initially she was comfortable sharing her after picture, but she didn't want us sharing the before picture, which is completely understandable. It's a vulnerable thing. But then here's what happened, you guys. The next day she sent a message, and this is what she said. She said, actually, go ahead and use the comparison photos. Why should I be ashamed of that first photo? I made the decision to take my life back. Oh my gosh, you guys. I literally almost started crying, because think about that for a minute. Why should I be ashamed of where I started? She made a decision. She chose herself. She invested in herself. She made her health a priority. And now, instead of looking at that picture as something that needs to be hidden, she can look at it and say, look how far I've come. And I also want you guys to understand, like, that's not selfish. She can now show up better as a significant other, as a mom, as a employee, she can show up better everywhere, because she's literally glowing and feels amazing. And that's what it's about. That health restored, that confidence restored, that mindset that is shifted and restored, and that belief and hope in oneself is restored. I mean, can I get an amen there? That is so exciting. And that's what it's about. So I want you guys to understand that that decision comes before the transformation and the restoration. If there's one thing that I could tell you today, it would be this: you get to decide when something changes. That doesn't mean the minute you decide, everything is magically becomes easy. It doesn't mean you're going to wake up tomorrow and the body, the energy, the career, or the life you want is just magically there. And it doesn't mean you know exactly how you're going to get there. But there's an incredible power in making the decision. That decision of, I don't want to stay here anymore. So before that decision, you're often just tolerating, or I hear this all the time with people. Oh, I need to think a little more. I need to research a little more. Maybe I should just wait a little bit more. And then you're still complaining, you're still hoping, and then you're starting and stopping, or you're going to try this and you're going to try that and you're going to do this, but deep down you got to get your habits and your environment and your lifestyle. So then hopefully you get to a place where something inside you shifts and you're like, no, nope, I am doing this. And once you decide and you make that decision, then things start happening. You ask for the help. You find the right person. The right person shows up. You build the support around you. You create the structure. You start to change your environment. You start learning new habits. And most importantly, you see that you don't have to do it alone. And I think that's another place that people get stuck, is they think that asking for help is like they failed or something. And that's absolutely not the case. I often say it takes a village to raise a child, right? Or we've heard that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I feel like it takes a village to be an adult. And here we are as adults going through things and just trying to white knuckle our way through life, do everything alone, try to figure it out. We're all overwhelmed and stressed the heck out. And it's like we need that sense of community. And think about it too. If you were like building a house, would you expect yourself to be the electrician, the plumber, the architect, the roofer, and the carpenter? I mean, maybe some of you, but for the most part, probably not. So why do we think we have to navigate every aspect of our health by ourselves? So sometimes the most powerful decision you can make is, you know what? I need support. I need help on this. And so now if we get back to the assessment, so this week I created that that are you stuck assessment. I actually call it how stuck are you? What's really keeping you from moving forward in your health journey? And then you fill it out and you get a score. And so the questions are very eye-opening. But remember, the score isn't to judge you, it's to create awareness, because you cannot change a pattern. You cannot help yourself get unstuck if you haven't even recognized what's going on. So here's what I want you to think about this week, you guys. Instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me, or why can't I get myself together, I want you to ask, what's actually keeping you stuck? Is it a lack of information? Probably not. Remember, because we talked about that, it's probably not a lack of information. Or is it fear? Or is it perfectionism? Is it the all or nothing thinking? Is it a lack of support? Is it you're waiting for the motivation? You're waiting for the right time. You're putting everybody else first, not believing you're worth the investment. Because once you identify that, now we can actually have something to work with. And I want to leave you with Tracy's words one more time. The hardest and most important step is choosing yourself, choosing your health, your peace, choosing to believe you're worth the effort. She made a decision to take her life back. Maybe your first step isn't losing 18 pounds. Maybe your first step isn't completely changing your diet tomorrow. Maybe your first step is simply making the decision, I'm not staying stuck anymore. I am worth the effort. I'm going to make my health a priority. And then we figure out the next steps from there. So if you guys would like the How Stuck Are You assessment, please find me on Facebook, Linzi Say Larson. That's LinziSaigh Larson, Larsen, and comment on today's post or send me a message and I'll send over that assessment. If you don't do social media, you can always email info@drlinzi.com. That's info@drlinzi.com, and I'll send over the assessment to you. And I just really encourage you guys to take it. Score yourself. See where you're at. And pay attention to the questions where you score the highest, because those answers may tell you far more why you're stuck than any diet, hormone replacement, or peptide ever will. Does that make sense? You want to take the assessment?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Is it on this page here, Dr. Linzi?
Nope, you have to request it.
Oh, you got to request it?
Yep, you either got to email info@drlinzi.com.
Okay.
Or, which is info@drlinzi.com, or find me on Facebook, not my professional page, my Linzi Say Larson, and find the most recent post I did, and comment that you want the assessment, and I'll send it over to you. And, because what I'm trying to do with some of these assessment tools that I'm giving you guys is to help you guys have a sense of awareness, because you can't change anything until you're aware of even what's going on. And awareness is often that most powerful step. And then once you have the awareness, I always say, I even have a shirt. I'll have to wear it next week. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's what I love that saying. But also where awareness goes, change can follow. You know what I mean? And so we have to have that awareness, and then we can have change, and then focus our energy on those things, and we will make a shift in our life. And so I think that this is really important. There aren't any quick fixes. So if you don't address why you're feeling stuck, and so many people just start taking a peptide, like a GLP-1, and that's gonna be my lifesaver, and I'm gonna magically lose all this weight. You might lose some weight, but guess what? If you don't address why you became stuck in the first place, or what conditions of your environment created the situation in the first place, and you have no awareness there, you have no energy going to changing those things, as soon as you stop that, it's just going to all come back on. So then people are like, oh, well, then do I just take it forever? Well, sure, I guess you could, but who wants to do that? Take a medication forever, to rely on the things that you can do yourself with your habits and your lifestyle and your awareness around what things hang you up, and where you get stuck, and that's what I love too about the total health restoration system that I do with people, is that it's meant to empower you. It's not just meant to be a quote program that you do and then it's over and then you go back to your regular life. No, it's meant to empower you, and through those 90 days that actually becomes a part of who you are, so that when you're done, you have the knowledge and the tools and the habits in place to keep that moving forward. And we have to remember that doctor in Latin, docere, means to teach. It's the doctor's job to teach you how to be well. And that's what total health restoration, that system, is all about, to teach you how to get control of your life, of your health, and to be well. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? And that awareness is so helpful for people, because when you have that awareness, you can actually make change.
Yeah, you know what your talk reminds me of is people say, well, what should I invest in? The stock market, in
Yes.
precious metals, what? But the best investment is in yourself.
Yes.
By far.
100%.
Nobody can take that away from you. Once you got the education, like you're talking, the knowledge.
The knowledge.
Yep.
Your health. I mean, your greatest wealth is your health. Like, literally, if you don't have your health, you could have a bajillion dollars. But if you don't have your health, you can't even enjoy any of it. You can't even do anything. And so I learned that from a very young age, probably in my 20s. I don't know, some self-help book I read, or probably some Tony Robbins thing. And when they were talking about the investments, said the greatest investment you can ever make is in yourself. Learning, growing, doing things that are for your health, because that is what life is all about. And even one of our basic human needs is growth. So to grow, to learn, and then to have our health, because truly, if you have your health, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything else. So sure, if once you invest in yourself, well, go and do all the stock market stuff you want, go and do all of those things, but the most important is going to be your health first and foremost, and to not put that to the back burner, because you could have all the wealth in the world, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing, right?
Yeah, you mentioned different age categories, 40, 50, 60. I'm 70.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is being the best version of yourself at any age. Whatever is the best version of you.
Yes, and you can always get better in different areas. Like just this weekend, I mean, I know my dad doesn't like me to say his age, but he's getting up there, and we just did some like water skiing, slalom skiing, like on the water. And he's like, he's closer to a certain age bracket that I won't even say, and like, it's not holding him back. He's not like, oh, now I'm this age, I can't do that. He's more like, I'm this age, I'm going to do this because it's going to keep me going, and I need to keep challenging my body and challenging myself.
Yeah, and he's got a mindset too. He's my dentist.
Oh yes, he's a pretty great guy.
We always talk cars, and I know his mind is like mine. It's still a sports car.
Oh yeah, it keeps you going. The things that get you excited, and he takes pride in that, in his health, and making it a priority. And I remember from a very young age, he was always making his health a priority. It was always important to him. So that just because you haven't been doing it your whole life doesn't mean you can't start now. It's never too late to start. But think about, if you're doing that too, what you're teaching to your children. I learned that from a very young age from my dad. Like, oh, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to take care of our health and make good choices. And if you can teach that to your children, now talk about generational wealth, that can be in your health. If a family of healthy humans, not when you go to the doctor and you have to give your family history of cardiovascular disease and diabetes and dementia and like every ailment under the sun, and that's the generational health that you're passing on. No. And it can change with you. It's okay if that has been the case. It can change with you, and that generational health can get passed down. And how beautiful to have generations of healthy humans thriving and not just surviving and eking their way through and being like, well, my family has a history of obesity and my family has a history of cardiovascular disease, so that's just going to be my future. No, absolutely not.
Right.
I truly believe that genetics can load the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. And yes, you could be more prone to something, but it's not the cardiovascular disease that gets passed down from generation to generation. It's the habits that create cardiovascular disease that get passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, you got a new spin on generational health. Everybody thinks about money.
Oh yeah.
But the health,
the wealth can come from the health.
Yeah.
A healthy, like generations of healthy family members. Like, how beautiful is that? Yep. And then to be able to enjoy each other, and to be able to enjoy those last years of, those, like, to have more life in the years, not just more years to our life, right? So I think that that's just so important.
Quality of life.
Quality of life.
Yeah.
Yes. We need more life in the years, not necessarily everyone's like, oh, adding more years to our life. No, we need more life to the years. And we get that by being vibrant and making our health and ourselves a priority. That's not selfish. So many people think making their health or making themselves a priority is selfish. It's not, because when you can be better, when you can be the best version of yourself, you can be better for everybody else in your life. And you feel good while being there for everybody else, not just trying to drag yourself through to being burnt out and doing everything for everybody. You can be totally present and be enjoying it.
I think some of it is, being a parent. You're always thinking about your kids when they're growing up, and then when you start thinking about yourself, it's like you said, selfish. But it's not, because if you got to be there for your kids.
Yeah, you want to be there and be fully, but if you're stressed out, if you're feeling like crap, if you're all that, are you being the best version for your kids? Or if you just took a little bit and made yourself a priority and you actually felt good in your skin and you felt energetic and you could keep up with them, wouldn't you be a better parent and a better wife, a better partner, better role model? And wouldn't that be like the least selfish thing?
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think Tracy's message like that was so powerful. I'll probably have that, and I want to like put it on a quote in the office. I gotta like give her an award for best client quote ever. Like, it's so, and but she came to that realization on her own.
Inspirational.
So inspirational. Yeah. I think that's so powerful, because I think that's great.